Hello everyone and welcome. In this recording I'm going to be speaking about this upcoming full moon that we have in the sign of Aquarius on the 11th or 12th of August 2022, depending on where you are on the planet. This is a really powerful and quite life altering full moon because there is, depending on how we want to see this energy, either a T-square that this full moon holds with the North Node Uranus and then of course the Sun in Leo, or we can also look at it as a Grand Cross because wherever the North Node is, opposite to it, to the exact degree and minute, is the South Node. So then we have a fixed Grand Cross. Now, because Uranus is involved, and Uranus is also the ruling planet of this full moon, that is very shocking. That is very life changing. That is revolutionary. Simple as that. In so very many different ways. Because all of the fixed signs are connected here. So conflictually. Now I know that some people do not like to perceive squares as conflicts between the planets because it's primitive. But at the end of the day, the energetic expression when energies meet, they can very well be depicted as a conflict. For example, when you mix two chemical elements together, substances, which you know exactly that are gonna react, well, is that not a kind of conflict between two original states? And out of that conflict, a third one will emerge. So yeah, you can also say, can we not look at it as a love story? Well, we can actually, if we want to look at it that way, because it's in Taurus, Uranus, the North Node, and Mars, but Mars is not conjunct exactly here, so we'll leave Mars as a side energy. So Taurus is all about love as well, all about the five senses. And again, please allow me the arrogance to say six senses, because that is what Uranus is doing in the sign of Taurus. Collectively, if we look at this from an evolutionary perspective, that five senses were the thing of the 90s. We have six senses actually. And everything in our reality situations, for example, right now the North Node is at 17 degrees and 47 minutes of the sign of Taurus. And if we look at the Sabian symbol of this, and why Sabian symbol, I'm going to be building all of this video and my interpretation of this full moon on their Sabian symbols of the planets, of the degrees, because this way I can invite you to interpret and understand your own way without me being the direct messenger. In this video, let's pretend that all of my listeners are colleagues consulting with me of what exactly this full moon can dish out, and it will definitely dish out without a shadow of a doubt. So the Sabian symbol of the 17 degrees 47 minutes, so 18 degrees of the sign of Taurus, is a woman airing an old bag, so holding an old bag out the window. And this is the collective karma. What does this immediately say? It says that we need to radically air out our value system, our traditions, our daily routines, our toxic rituals, our toxic mindset, because our mindset is building our reality. Would be wise and weave love, fairness, equality, equity into it, we already get a different reality, but we need to do this collectively as well. Yet, this is exactly the message of the full moon. It all starts with the individual. We had collectively, don't get me wrong, collectively as a species, if you will, time until this Aquarius full moon to do this individually the way we think it's best for us. A lot of us were washed by tides of karma and guidances of all sorts in different directions. And yeah, we're somewhere right now in our life stories, but there were other individuals who truly resisted to this. No, no, it's my way or the highway. Karma, you have no saying in what I'm gonna do with my life, my decisions, etc. Absolutely fine. But the time is up now. So everyone who has not done this kind of upgrade, airing out, just simply airing out our bag, our value system, so it's not burdensome, so it's not old and stale and rotten and wrong. And even if we have not necessarily found new values to put in the bag yet, the empty space, the cleaning of it, the airing of it, the sacredness, the window, we all invite the divine to fill it for us. Now, this can be seen in different ways. Saturn would see this very, very silly, stupid. Do you really think that money's gonna drop from the sky into your bag? But Uranus says maybe if reality is much more under our control than we might think, then yeah, maybe that can also happen. Not to everyone, but maybe everyone has this potential, and this is where it's much more bigger chance than playing on the lottery, for example. Manifestation. But regardless of how we solve it, through intelligence, Saturn in the sign of Aquarius, seeking new values and putting them in the bag, or we just put it out the window and whatever drops in there from divine sources, from fate, from hazard, or even if nothing at all, then we have already done something very, very important. If that bag is full of old, stale, that which we do not need, for example, what a more appropriate metaphor than this old currency that is useless, valueless right now. If our old bag is full of that and we haven't got rid of it, then we might perceive it as a loss, as a shock, as a reality turning against us, violently sometimes, misfortune. But I am very, very certain that most of us are not going to be experiencing it this way, yet collectively, however, it's a different story. Because we have not listened to the signs the universe has been insistently giving us since 2020 and of course way before, but let's say 2020. So that's why it can be very, very shocking. Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius, of this full moon. Uranus himself is in tension with Saturn. Saturn is conjunct the moon. So this really, really adds a cherry on top of everything that has been happening in 2021. The old conflict between Saturn and Uranus. And then that old conflict reborn in 2022. Right now, as the sparks are heating up, as the political, value, financial, banking world is clashing, violently shaking from its roots. And why am I saying this? Because Uranus is at 18 degrees and 51 minutes of the sign of Taurus, and the Sabian symbol of that is the 19 degree, a newly formed continent. That is the Sabian symbol of where Uranus is and what Uranus is doing. Now, what does a newly formed continent mean? Full of hope, full of prosperity, fertility, new life, new destinies, a new stage for the world. But the forming of a new continent is violent. Primal forces burst. The earth herself vomits out magma. Tectonic plates crush themselves in their violent dance. Okay, we might not be seeing this newly formed continent right now, but there can be a lot of seismic activity and physical shocking phenomenon, including accidents, human negligence made disasters, because Uranus wants to show us that we're in danger. It's awareness, really. It's not misfortune, because the cause was always there. It's just showing us that if you mix gasoline with, I don't know, it's bad. And apply this metaphor in any way, shape, and form, emotionally, spiritually, physically, health and safety, mathematically, informational, any way. This is true. If there's an accident waiting to happen, then awareness is the power that changes it. If we were not aware, the accident happens, we become aware, and we change it for the future. So this is why the symbolism of Uranus, the future, but also awareness, the truth, and the unpredictable, because we don't know when, but Saturn squaring Saturn, so time's up. Time's up, it happens, and it raises awareness. Emotionally, divorce cases, infidelity, I don't love my partner because they're not the person I met 20 years ago, or I so love, so, anything that basically raises awareness of something that was always within you. Spiritually as well, you're a really gifted spiritual person. This is not a big shock really, but it is, because you become aware, but this was always like this. So yes, the newly formed continent, we have to allow primal forces to clash, and primal forces can very well mean Aquarius dual, two waves, fixed dual, good and evil, because those are fixed dual, those light and shadow, etc. These will, without a shadow of doubt, clash. So that means they will clash within us as well. This is the classical story where it's the cartoon figure, the angel on one shoulder, devil the other shoulder, the conversation, yeah. This is temptation as well, the South Node in Scorpio. Let us not forget that great power, because the South Node in Scorpio is all that is so excessive right now that is suffocating us collectively and individually. All of us know what it means individually. That person, that situation, that need which hasn't been met, the passions that aren't fulfilled, etc., etc. But collectively, cry for justice. Scorpio, let us see the truth. So this is why this full moon is going to be very revelatory of secrets of scorpionic nature. What was happened, where's the money, who has the money, who is behind the scenes, crimes of sexual nature, organized crime. So this is big, big, big revelation energy, investigation energy even. The result of investigation, scientific or journalistic or of any kind, Scorpio. South Node in there, because that's excessive. It's so much secret now that it cannot be contained by the Earth's informational sphere, because we are on planet Earth and we have a collective consciousness. If we fuel it with something like refueled secrets, collectively, just like for a person, it will spit out at one moment. That Freudian projection, that moment when the truth just comes out, and this is one of them, definitely one of them. Anyway, the other Sabian symbol that we need to look at is that 19 degrees and 21 minutes of Aquarius, where the moon is, the full moon in Aquarius. A big white dove descending. So a big white dove, which is a message bearer. Biblically, this white dove was when Noah got the message, for example, after the flood or at the flood. Or this big white dove is a symbol when the Holy Spirit descended, the events related to the life of Christ. So the symbol of this is a holy message, a divine message that we receive. But this divine message is humanity's gets into, so we understand it into humanity's collective consciousness. What may happen in your individual life, well, that can be anything, a divine message, a moment of divine clarity, when it is the divine who shows you where your life is, where you are, and what's the situation in your life. It's a powerful reality check, but divinely orchestrated, and this is definitely divinely orchestrated, and this is such where it's not Pisces energy. You don't need translator. You don't need me or any other person. This is straight to your face. This is like you know, a friend saying it to your face, a person saying it to your face, the movie, the book, the song, the whatever, your dream, in your dream, why not? Say Mother Nature, your body, something saying it to your face what the true situation is. And that could be, for example, extremely surprising in a good way. You're loved, you're appreciated. That can be more like a crisis. For example, you do need to leave the job, you do need to, for example, I hope that in the life of a friend of mine who I know, it won't manifest as a truth he is playing with, because he's saying he wants to move to the mountains because that's where he feels himself. What if the Uranian energy says, well, what you kind of play with as thought is actually, that's it. Yeah, it is what it is. Do that if you will. So we're also a little bit aware of how this may manifest in our lives, but collectively, well, Uranus is notorious in Aquarius, its ruling sign, for revolution, protest, civil movements, when things really need to change and people take action. The power of the people, the will, collective will, people mobilizing in any way, shape and form. First of all, informationally, of course, because Aquarius is information, the internet, and the internet is humanity's manifested collective consciousness. So yeah, so this is a lot of information, and Saturn is there. Saturn is the ancient ruling planet of Aquarius, so it will try to restrict it. But Saturn can also act as the necessity, as in, yeah, it's time, it's really time. This is where either individually or collectively become aware that it's time for something. And this can very well be divine timing, North Node. This can very well be some kind of karmic reverberation, positive or payment, South Node and Scorpio debt, karmic debt, or but karmic debt can mean when the universe is in your debt, a person, a soul, etc. is in your debt, and the energy comes to you, and that is repaid. But it can also mean that if you've done some scorpionic acts, I'm not gonna translate this, then of course, yes, of course, it won't be very pleasant. Because whatever it is that you're hiding, it will come to the surface, infidelity or whatever that might be. But anyway, this is also divinely guided, so we must not forget this. There is a strong element of divine help in the equation here, because the divine will send a message along with instructions, along with guidance, along with what is true for you or not, or a divine perspective, looking at ourselves and our situation through heaven's eyes, something of this nature. So let us look at where the sun is. The sun is the luminary. It is illuminating, giving light to this full moon, shedding light on something, animating something. It is in Leo, in the heart. So it has a lot to do with the heart already. The truth of a heart, the outburst of solar flares. And we are in a period of extremely powerful and almost unprecedented activity of solar flares, sunspots, and solar magnetism. So this is not coincidental, and the sun being in its home sign of Leo, that's when we get to see and feel So because of this, there can be internet blockages, outages, power outages. We could be hit by a massive solar activity at this moment. So be aware of this. So the 20 degrees Sabian symbol of Leo is Zuni sun worshippers. And this is so beautiful because that is a Native American, South American tribe. Sun worshippers, you know. I think right now it's in the territory of Peru or something like. I'm so sorry, but you can just Google it. But sun worshipping is really the essence here. That's the divine, that's the creator. Even the most primitive beings knew out of animals know that the sun is creational. It is the closest source of light and life. It is a physical representation of the divine because the light is information. There was the word and stuff like that, you know, light, yeah. So this comes from the core of the divine heart. Information, sun worshipping the information, prophecy, a message that all of us might be able to understand. But for others still, what is sun worship? An act of gratitude. Oh, I just remember that I have a tarot card which depicts this. So please allow me to pause and show you the tarot card. Okay, so this one. Maybe this image or picture or scene, one way or another, can be part of our lives, giving gratitude to the divine, to the heavens. Ultimately, sun is the ruler of the heavens for something. Uranus is was the god of the sky, of wind. So a T square or a grand cross, because we must not forget Scorpio either. And I have not looked up the symbol, Sabian symbol of 20 degrees of Scorpio, because it might actually I have. I'm so sorry. It is an autumn scenery, autumn vibrant colors. And what does that mean? Something came to full maturity. Us as souls, us as our Scorpio, knowledge of our psyches and inner self, us being able to have self-control over our unconscious, at least to a healthy degree, not to allow it to harm us and everyone around us by generating certain feelings like jealousy, envy, hatred, etc., etc., because the frequency itself is harmful. The frequency is what does the true damage to reality. First of all, you damage the reality, the aura, if you will, of the other person without even knowing. So, what is the message here, the divine message? With this T square, with this grand cross, to return to the basics of morality, airing the bag, let's remember, but something coming, we need to let go of something. We need to let go of this hyper-modernism. Uranus. We need to... Uranus says that everything is hyper-modern already because we quantum leaped as a consciousness. And this is the other expression because we are once again quantum leaping at the time of this full moon. What is gonna unfold after, no one really knows, let's see. But anyway, I'm not gonna speak about that because other astrologers will definitely include it in their work, the quantum leap. So, this is where we have to make sure to preserve Saturn conjunct the moon, that which is basic, rudimentary, and sacred, as value, as tradition. And that is our humanity, that is our better Arcturian qualities, the kindness, sharing knowledge, sharing strength, sharing inspiration, sharing love, being loving, delighting other person's five senses, six senses even, because we can, because that everyone's wealthy in one way or another. Someone's wealthy with fantasy and ideas, other with money, other with physical energy, other with beauty, I don't know. So we need to learn to share and give. And also, because of this Saturn squaring, conjunct the moon and squaring this configuration, and we must not forget that Mars is also squaring Saturn, so Saturn is aggressed quite heavily. So Saturn, whatever Saturn represents, because you can imagine Aquarius is dual, it is also centralized power, and the old system that is on survival mode, doesn't necessarily wants to collapse. So this can be militaristic action. This can be a lot of tension, a lot of diplomatic tension, a lot of tension within a country. This can be again overthrowing of governments, but I don't want to feed this. And all at the same time, Mars is trine Pluto. This is an empowerment. Whatever needs to happen will happen. This is pure psychological empowerment, determination. This is where things will change. Individually and collectively as well, but let's put this individually. And if you allow me, I might make a short, much shorter second part of this video so I can focus on my remaining minutes on the more collective expression, because it's not going to be an easy energy. Secrets are going to come out, radical legislation changes that the people won't agree to with, whatever. So that will cause social unrest, that will cause a lot of social movement. Social is part of Aquarius. The other expression of this energy is technology. This is where agriculture might be in danger of being hyper-technologized with too much scientific interference. No more genetics, no more pesticides, no more this and that. Leave farmers alone with your laws, rules, regulations. Saturn and the North Node, leave farmers alone. This can also represent new technology seeing daylight, but the likes of which we can only, even at the present moment, just, see in science fiction, because it hasn't reached the news yet, it hasn't reached awareness yet, but chances are it's either being built already or it already exists. So shocking technological discoveries are part of this. Uranus in the sign of Taurus also represents a big revolution in the professional world. This is where people are gonna go freelance a lot. Aquarius. This freelancing is the rebellious energy. One-on-one. This is where there's no competition really. There is one human being helping another, and that human being helped is gonna compensate the other. This is it. This is the reduction, because that is Taurus as well. Airing the old bag, reduction. This is really what commerce means. Two people or play with this, and this expression helping one another. So it's back to this and away with the rules. Saturn is aggressed heavily here. Let's not forget. And Saturn is the past, capitalistic past. That's not the future, that's the past. The future is Uranus in Taurus. What did I say? Newly formed continent. We don't know yet. Newly formed continent, that's what it means. We don't know yet. We know that it formed. We know that we're part of it, we're building blocks of it. But how it's gonna look like, no one knows yet, because it's a co-creation. So, a newly formed continent doesn't come with biosphere and flora, fauna, and people on it. It comes, first of all, I expect, as rock, or I don't know how it happens, but it doesn't come with harmony and serenity packed into it, that needs a bit of time to settle down. So, whatever will shock us, whatever will unsettle us, we must also remember that's collective. We need to mind our own business. What we feed into is what we are gonna, because this is heavy manifest. This isn't just manifestation energy. This is heavy manifestation energy, the scorpionic kind, where you don't know it. And a lot of, I don't know, energies out there have every intent for you to not be aware of what you're choosing unconsciously, etc. So be aware. Be aware. Awareness, Uranus opposing the South Node. Be aware. Awareness must take place because that's power. That is a spiritual teacher of mine said awareness is the new currency. So you can imagine that she was right. She is so right. That is exactly what we can expect right now. That awareness is power, awareness is everything. Awareness will tell us where to invest, when not to invest, what to do, where to move, where not to move, who to move with. Awareness is truly and awareness needs the heart. We need to sink into the heart space because only that is where Aquarius and Taurus meet in harmony. Leo, the heart space. This is the nature of the square. That must be the round table, the heart, where we make choices and decisions and interpret even what reality is for us. That is how we make the choice to live through love and the heart. So I'll get back to the individual expression of this energy in the second part. Thank you.